Hello adventurers, I'm Gray and welcome back to another Hytale Blog update. And I'm changing the format this time a little bit. No face cam, so we don't really need that here in a blog update anyway. And I'm just going to kind of read through it and give my own commentary and talk about everything that they're adding. So this time it is about creating creature sounds for Hytale, which is something that I didn't think about. Like, I know sound effects are in the game, but I never really think about them. But it really does make sense they talk about making sound effects for games like this. There's lots of work that goes into them, and they're going to show us how Kieran Fitzpatrick, their sound effect designer, goes about creating them. So the first interesting thing it points out is the names of these guys. So everywhere I've seen them appear on blog posts, on wikis and things like that, on the Hytale wiki, they're called mermen or merpeople, basically. Now they give them a real name. They're the Fen Stalker, which, based off of them being Fen Stalkers, I'm guessing the Fen is another race or another group of some sort. This is speculation here. I like speculation though. It's fun to talk about what you want in the game and what might be there based on the limited info they give. So I'm guessing the Fen is a new race and the Stalker is just one type of member of the Fen race. And it's the one that they've always shown, including in this concept background key art thing. It's a key art by Thomas Frick, once again, and it's been in several posts in the media section. Art helps inform the creature's look, movement style, and role in the game, and each of these factors helps to establish how it might sound. The job of sound effect designers is to take concept art or an in-game model and bring it to life, to take the work of the rest of the team and give it a voice. Looking at concept art is the quickest way to find out the character's size, what they're made of, and if they're going to be a strong character or a weak character. So this lets me pick out what their sonic signature is, which I guess is a sort of theme of sound that goes with that character. For example, these guys, the Fen Stalkers, are supposed to feel bubbly, liquidy, watery, basically, because it's a water creature. It is basically a merman. So he's supposed to sound like he's underwater full of fluid, and to do this, you need to draw from surprising audio sources. In addition to Kieran's own voice, the Fen Stalker sound is created by combining parrot squawks with the braying sounds of a zebra, which I have no idea what it sounds like, but we're going to hear some sounds in a moment. I have a huge library of animal recordings that I'll sift through to try and find the sonic element we're trying to capture. It just happened to be that the zebra has an otherworldly sound that you don't hear very often. All of this material is processed in an audio workstation. For example, the Fen Stalker's alert sound is composed of 8 different clips, and you can take a look at these clips here. I can kind of zoom in a little bit. I'm not going to look into too many details here, but you can see the different sounds they use. Several different clips of his voice, the zebra, the parrot, he morphed it a little bit, and then you have the alerted anim, which is the overall group. I don't know how these programs work too well, but you can get an idea of what he did just by looking at this real quick. When it comes to my own voice, I wanted to take as many layers as I can and cut them into shorter clips that I can stack together. Taking a throat gargling sound and having it mix into popping or clicking sounds, for example. Another trick is morphing, which we could have seen in that photo here, where I'll take the waveform of one audio track, popping or clicking, and use that waveform to shape another one, such as the parrot squawk. Bird calls take well to this morphing technique, and surprising results can be achieved when they're combined with a human voice. Another effect he uses a lot is pitch shifting. He'll speed things up and slow them down or reverse them, and he does that with his own voice. He'll also use effects like phasing to help bring out a lot of warbly, bubbly sounds, and then they make this final product, this final sound right here. I'm not going to talk in it. Put on your headphones, listen up closely. We're going to hear the Fen Stalker. That sounds somewhat like I expected him to. I sort of expected it to be a little bit deeper, but this doesn't sound bad. I think it sounds really good, actually. I think it fits him really well. It definitely sounds gurgly, watery, like you got something caught in your throat and you're just trying to scream it out or whatever. This is the sound you might hear as you explore the swamps of Zone 1, a cue to flee or to get ready for a fight. For each animation, I'll do multiple variations, so we're not always hearing the same sound. I take all of this source material and process it in different ways, while trying to have it be consistent across all the sounds that are required. So basically, as you might expect, different creatures, different things are going to have variations of sound. It's not going to be the same sound effect constantly. And it would get boring if they did do the same sound effect constantly, so that's nice to hear. They'll have various different sounds, however, they all fit into the same theme, the same, the sonic structure, whatever it was called. And that should make it all sound consistent and work well across the world. So sonic profile, that's it. So while the sonic profile has been pinned down, more sound effects are created to accompany other events. Here's what you might hear if you take a Fen Stalker down in combat. Once again, put on your headphones, get ready to listen. I definitely did not bang my forehead for that sound effect. I can't give away my sound effect secrets. In creating sounds for Hytale's hostile creatures, it's vital that they match the overall look and feel of the game. When we showed off the creation of the Zone 1 Swamp key art, Zero described how Hytale's art style strives for a balance of cute and scary elements. Sound effect design follows the same principles. A daily challenge is trying to make creatures that need to be menacing come off that way without going full horror game. We're trying to also make what needs to be cute without going full cartoon, for example. It's about maintaining consistency across the world. Not looking at a character and figuring out what they sound like in isolation, but figuring out how they would sound in Hytale. Learning how far I can take a creature while ensuring that it sounds like it lives on Orbis. You have to make it fit into the game, so that makes sense. Here's an example of a cuter creature, a chicken running around its pen. This sound effect was created using samples of a real chicken, combined with the sound of clothes being flapped in front of a microphone, to provide the impression of rustling feathers. Someone help! A fork stuck my baby! Someone save them! I need someone to help me! Go save me! I love how the chicken is just running around in circles like its head's cut off or something like that. And you can see a little, like, is that a nest on top of that log? I think there's a little bird's nest or chicken nest or something on top of that log there. That's somewhat interesting. And there's, once again, carrots and stuff in the ground, or pumpkins or whatever. I think it's carrots. But yeah, it talks more about the sound effects and how they make them. Here's another one, a creepier example, a spider leaping down from a tree. If you're an arachnophobe, tune out now, like, stop the video, pause now, and come back at this time that'll appear on the screen. I don't want to scare you with spiders and things like that, so yeah, skip it if you don't like it. That is somewhat frightening, I will say. One of the creepiest sounds in Minecraft, I think, is the spider movement noise. And if you've played Minecraft and have heard spiders move around, you know what I mean. Because they didn't used to make sounds like that, but they made them like that, and then they got way more scary. So I like spiders being somewhat frightening in their sounds, and I think this is pretty good frightening sound effect that is not really a horror game sound, but it fits into the world to be just scary enough in this sort of lonely adventure game, you know? Adorable or terrifying, that's up to you to decide. Of course, spiders aren't the worst thing you might encounter as you explore. And then it goes into this guy, the crawler. Once again, if you don't like horror things, if you don't like spiders, skip this. But I'm going to play it right now. Sounds like this thing is going to be quite the monster when we encounter it in the game, and as such, it has a monstrous sounding alert. Bear in mind that all these game assets in this post represent work in progress. As per usual for all these posts, everything is work in progress. All the artists and sound designers and everything are working together to constantly update everything and change it, and it might not be how the full game is, but it may be how the full game is, so keep that in mind. Arriving at the right sound is made easier by Hytale's in-game tools. While playing, you can swap audio without having to quit the game. You can change the file, alter the volume or pitch, loop sounds, and limit the amount of times they can play. There's a lot of features I'm using all the time and implementing new sounds, and it's really easy to test what I'm working on to find out how it feels to listen to it while I'm playing. This is something I find really nice about Hytale's development and tools they're making available, is that it's so easy to add things, to change things, to test things. Like, for example, with these sound effects, you change the sound effects of these creatures, you don't have to exit the game at all. For example, you'd be hearing the creature make different sounds. You open up another program of sorts, the Hytale editor, whatever it will be called. You change the sound effects, you go back to Hytale, just switch tabs back, you immediately hear it making a different sound. And that makes it so easy to tell whether or not it sounds good in the world, whether or not it works well. It's just a really great way to implement things. So when Hytale launches, these same tools will be made available to modders and everyone else, I assume. We want to make sure that customizing game audio is as easy as changing any other aspect, so that content creators can try their hand at designing their own sounds. And that's really all for this blog update. Once again, they have all of the resources used in this update in a link here, which is nice and really helpful for me who likes to save everything they give us for future analysis and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed learning more about Hytale sound effects. Subscribe for more Hytale content, and I hope to see you all on the next adventure.